This podcast is powered by IAMOps.io. Optimize your cloud infrastructure and CI/CD process with IAMOps.io dedicated DevOps team. Check out www.iamops.io and get a DevOps team now.
Why food tech? Why specifically in that field?
It's a very good question. Maybe I will talk a little bit about myself before. I'm an entrepreneur and CEO of several startup companies and also was a venture capitalist in other fields. In the 4 or 5 years ago, when the food tech started in Israel, nobody knew about that. Nobody wanted to invest in food tech. But I looked at that, and I had a friend in one of the food tech incubators in Israel that was established by the Strauss Group. Strauss is the second largest food company in Israel, and Ofra Strauss said that she's going there. And it was interesting, nobody knew about that, nobody wanted to invest, but it was very obvious to me at some point that this market is in disruption. Why? Because of several things. One is that the population of the world is just growing and we have limited sources, but this is something that everybody who is dealing with sustainability, agri-tech and food tech is saying. But second to that, and this is what I understand from Tempo and Nuva and Strauss here in Israel. Tempo is the second largest beverage company in Israel, held partially by Heineken, the Heineken global beer maker. That in a way, the tools that the food technologies use in order to produce a new food is no longer exist.
Welcome to our series entitled The IAM Podcast, a podcast about innovation, business, and most importantly, people. In this series, we'll be talking to founders, executives, and various experts about their vision, challenges, best practices, and lessons learned throughout their journey. Let's get started.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the IAM Podcast. I am Moriah, your host, and today, well, I'm so excited. This is our first time to chat with a venture capitalist. Okay, here on the show is the CEO of Millennium Food Tech, Chanan Schneider. Hello, how are you?
How are you?
I am great. I'm so excited. I have a lot to learn about VCs, but I would love you to tell everyone more about you, like your experience, your passion, your expertise.
Well, thank you very much, and it's a great opportunity to be here, and thank you very much for having me here. So my name, as you mentioned, is Chanan Schneider, and I'm a venture capitalist. I'm heading a venture capital fund which is dedicated to food tech, to invest in food tech companies. We are located in Israel and we are also traded at the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. This is a unique, I would say, investment vehicle. Mostly venture capital funds are private, but we are a publicly venture capital fund, but we work as any other venture capital fund. We raised till today about $40 million. We invested about $30 million of them. And again, we are dedicating to food tech, which in Israel is huge ecosystem. And I think that if you look at the world consider Israel as the food tech hub. So it's very interesting to be at the middle of that.
Yes, the food tech hub, there's a lot of startups happening and the startup nation, right? But why food tech? Why specifically in that field?
It's a very good question. So I think that I will talk a little bit about myself before. So I'm an entrepreneur and CEO of several startup companies and also was a venture capitalist in other fields. In the 4 or 5 years ago, when the food tech started in Israel, nobody knew about that. Nobody wanted to invest in food tech. But I looked at that, and I had a friend in one of the food tech incubators in Israel that was established by the Strauss Group. Strauss is the second largest food company in Israel, and Ofra Strauss said that she's going there. And it was interesting, nobody knew about that, nobody wanted to invest, but it was very obvious to me at some point, this market is in disruption. Why? Because of several things. One is that the population of the world is just growing and we have limited sources, but this is something that everybody who is dealing with sustainability, ag tech and food tech is saying. But second to that, and this is what I understand from Tempo and Nuva and Strauss here in Israel. Tempo is the second largest beverage company in Israel, held partially by Heineken, the Heineken global beer maker. That in a way, the tools that the food technologies use in order to produce a new food no longer exist. Let's take an example. Let's take the Doritos. I don't know if you have the Philippine Doritos as a snack, okay, or
I can imagine.
Fritole or chips in a snack. Chips. Let's say that you want to have a new taste in the chips and as a snack, right? As a snack. So 7 years ago, you went to the consumer and said, what taste do you want to have? Let's say that they said onion taste. So you went to the lab and told your technologist, do me a chips with a taste of onion. Okay. So what did they do? They went to the lab and then they started to use sugar, salt, ingredients such as taste material, colors, gluten, proteins from animals, etc. All these tools almost no longer exist, meaning we don't want to use any protein for animal anymore. Some of the ingredients that you use in terms of colors and taste considered to bring cancer. So you don't want to use them anymore. You don't want to use any more gluten. You don't want to use sugar anymore at more than a certain level. You don't want to use salt. So basically there are no tools for the technologies to build up new products, new food products. And this is disrupting the whole food and beverage area. So this is why we said that in Israel, about 7 years ago, we had the science in the universities. So we saw a migration in the scientists from mainly medical, pharmaceutical, and biotech to the field of food tech and ag tech, but mainly food tech. And then we saw the incubators and the early investors, the pre-seed and seed investors coming into the field, starting to take this science and make it technology. And now we are at where the technology becomes a product. And now you need to take it to a POC at the large companies, scale up, regulation, go to market, expansion, execution, etc. And this is where we are. We are investing post-technology hurdle. After you have something and now you want to take it to the next level with a product, to finalize a product, to do go to market, scale up, pilots, etc.
This is really disrupting. I mean, I love what you said about now technology becomes the product. Like we are really seeing like plant-based meat, right? Cultured meat, protein, alternative. So it's really towards the sustainability of the planet. You as a venture capitalist, so how would you just define that? I mean, what you do, the responsibility, how much you get involved with companies you help or fund?
Yeah, I'm telling people that I thought that I will invest money in startup and then I will go to the beach, right, and sit down and wait for my companies to grow up. But this is not the case. So we are very much involved in our companies. We sit at the board of 9 of the 10 portfolio company that we have. We help them a lot. For example, one of our companies has a CEO that is a scientist based. So we mentor him with the business side, help them to understand what is a term sheet, how you negotiate with big companies, with venture capital fund, with investors, etc. Another companies now have a big interest from a strategic partner. So to handle that, to understand what is a JV, what is a joint development agreement, what's a joint venture, how you go, how you solve problem, and sometimes you go with them to meet this strategic partner and help them in the negotiation. Sometimes we put one of our board members who was a division manager in Nestle in order to help this startup company with the go-to-market strategy. How you go to market, with what product, what will be the next product. So, and of course, we need to tell our investor what we are doing. So all of that, and you also help them in the most important case, of course, to raise money. So we open doors, we sit with them, we take them to investors, etc. So we are working hard on that as well.
Okay, yes, it's like one of the things that founders talk about here, and the purpose, right, of founders, why they get on, is like raise funding. But before that, you said, okay, you really take time to sit and speak with founders, teach them everything, How much time does it take for you guys to assess whether you would like to invest here or not?
So I can tell you that the first assessment is very fast. Either there is a click or there isn't a click, and then we dive in. And when you dive in, it depends on the company, but we are not taking a lot of time in order to do that, because it's not fair for us, and it's not good for us, and it's not fair for the founder, because the founder needs to get answers. So if it's a no, we try to tell that in a week or 2 weeks time. If you go to the next phase and we start due diligence, business and technology due diligence, so we are trying to do that as fast as we can. Normally it takes about 1 month, and then negotiation might take some more time, and then term sheet, and then financial and business and IP due diligence, and then and of course drafts of the investment agreement. So totally I can tell you that you can finish that between 3 to 6 months. This is the average.
You've mentioned that, to be fair, you have to inform them whether it's a no or it's a yes. How to know if there's a click, like if you're aligned? Okay, let's start with the pitch. Does it all start with the pitch?
That's of course. Although for us, we sometimes we look, since we know a lot of the companies in the market, so sometimes we approach the CEOs and the founders. But yes, you're right. The first thing is the pitch, and my 2 cents for the founders are: keep it short. Don't put on the slide a lot of words. Just be very, very precise, very, very to the point, and don't tell us a lot about the underlying, the first meeting, underlying technology until the bit and the byte, etc. If we want to go down or to deep in that, we will ask the question. If not, tell us what is important. Do that very, very precise in a very short words. Say something that you can say that in 2 minutes I can understand what you have, and I can decide. I'm more interested to hear more about what you are saying.
What I'm hearing is just do not deep dive. If you want, he'll ask more. But the important elements, maybe the problem and their solution in the market, are those the things you would like to hear in a click?
Yes, and more of that is the solution. And just remember that if you have a food tech startup and you are talking to a food tech venture capital funds, they understand it in more than 99% of the situation. They understand the market, they understand the need, they understand so don't go there. Just ask if we want to go there, because you can skip that and really go to your solution. The solution has to be with the technology inside. So talk about the solution, Describe your technology not very deep unless the VC wants you to go deeper. Be prepared to go deeper, but at the first meeting, don't go deeper in the beginning.
Kindly share, maybe as far as you can remember, among the pitches that you've heard, what's the best one and what got you? Like right away, it's a click.
The pitch that at the beginning said, what is the problem? And I understood that there is a huge problem and they have a solution. These are the two things that are most important, at least to me. Don't talk to me today about plant-based meat that goes to the supermarket. We have time for them. Okay, talk to me, for example, about the GFF2 growth hormone that you can do in $1 instead of $50,000. This is something this is the problem, $50,000, which makes the cost unbelievable. I can reduce that to $1. This is the technology, that's it. And then we can talk about a lot of other things, the company, the entrepreneur, etc., etc.
To those, this is going to the ears of like hundreds, and maybe it's a great tip to, stealth startups. Okay. And food tech, on the food tech side. So yes, the pitch is just the start. What else do you find attractive in the company?
Basically, to the founders, I will tell that it's very, very good, in my view, to talk with the big companies, the strategic companies, maybe the potential buyers soon. In my view, to talk to them soon and tell them, this is what I want to do. And then after 6 months is to come again and said, what I told you that I'm going to do, I've done that. This is what I've done, continuing with my plan. That brings a lot of trust between you, and at the end of the day, this will go to maybe a strategic agreement, a great relationship, joint ventures, etc. This is one thing. Second thing, I think that in these conditions, you need to adapt yourself to the market condition. Understand that the market is changing, has changed. The valuation has changed, and go to raise money now as soon as you can, because there is a little bit of anomaly in the market today. From one side, the capital markets went down and are in disaster, and nobody wants to invest, and all of us wants to save our money. But from the other end, a lot of new funds raised money in 2020 and 2021, meaning that there is a lot of dry powder in the funds today, and they need to deploy it. They cannot sit on the money. They need to deploy it because they want to raise that second fund and the third fund in 2 or 3 years. They need to deploy the money. I think that in the next 12 to 18 months, we will see a lot of investment, but in a lower valuation. So don't be very, very keen on the valuation today. This is in my view. Work on your personal skills, meaning do a lot of mingling and meet a lot of people, because you don't want to be in a situation of cold call. Cold call means that I sent an email to somebody that I never talked to him or sent an email or corresponded with before. So if you go to conferences, and please go to a lot of conferences and meet the people, even just saying, hi, I'm Chanan, nice to meet you, I have a startup. And he will tell you, hi, how are you? That brings you in when you want to, or you will go to raise money. He will know you, meaning there is a base of communication. Cold call usually, in my view, as an entrepreneur and CEO and also as a VC, have difficulties. We don't like cold calls. We like to speak with people that we have spoken before. And don't be afraid to go to somebody at a conference and tell him, hi, I'm Chanan Schneider, nice to meet you. I'm the CEO of this and this and this. Do you have a minute or two to talk about that? Or do a elevator pitch, or tell him, yes, let's continue, let's do a Zoom meeting next week or something like that. You have to have, in Hebrew we say chutzpah. It means that you have to be very bold. If you are a CEO, you are very bold. Another thing that I want to say, that we are as CEOs, are sick people. We have mania depression. Mania depression means that in one day you can be high and the second day you can be down. Sometimes everything goes amazing and you are at a high, and the next day, even at the same day, you can get a rejection from some VC, and you go and your mood go to the down position. So understand that and embrace that, I would say, that you are in a mania depression. I think just want to stress that even if you think that you are in a stealth mode, go to conferences in this field. You will find your competitors there. Sometimes they will be very nice to you, and you can talk to them. And you will meet the big companies in the field, and they will be very nice to you sometimes. And you will find VCs and investors in this field. And again, as you mentioned, as I mentioned before, it means that your next call will not be a cold call.
Yeah, I like that. Like in sales, like cold calling, you should really build relationship first. Like go in a community and speak to people. Okay, consult. Okay, I just have one more question. So, VCs are granted active management role, right, to guide the company. And I wonder, like, because some people want to bootstrap because maybe, the decision making. And so I want to ask you, like, what's the strategic way to communicate with an investor or to partner with investors?
So in my view, meet him early on, as early as you can. Meaning, don't tell him that it's much better to go to a VC and tell him, I don't want to raise money now, I just want to talk to you, then I'm coming to you to raise money. So meet the persons at the beginning, tell them, I just want you to look at what I'm doing, I just want to get to know you. And then when you are raising money, you build up some good relationship, some trust, I would say. So this is one, I think that I want to say. Second, be very transparent, meaning if you have risk, talk about them. If you have some things that are not going well, talk about them, because if we will find that after the investment, then some chaos can come.
Build trust right at the onset. And okay, it's okay to bootstrap. You have nothing against that. It's okay to say, I'm not looking for any funding. We can do it right now. And then when the time comes, you know them, you know him. So it's a click.
Many times you have just one opportunity with a VC. Don't waste it.
What are the most crucial qualities that CEOs must demonstrate so they can bring a venture capitalist?
I think that they can lead. The leadership, meaning...
Leadership.
Yeah, they have issues with persons that are coming to be CEO from big companies. That in many ways they are used to work like in a big corporation. He will fix that, and he will fix that, and he will fix that. While in startup, I need to fix everything. So you need to be very charismatic, but you need to be very transparent, but you need to bring your leadership to the table. Leadership, and that I will trust you to take this company from A to B. But
so
you need
it's
to
really
take it.
Leadership.
Yes, definitely leadership. I don't mind that you will not talk English very well, but I want to know that you understand what you are doing and you can take this company to the next level. And don't think that you, as an entrepreneur, as a carte blanche, that you will be the CEO for life. No. Then if you will not do a good job, we will replace you.
Yes. I mean, that's how fast startups move, right? Like today you're the CTO, tomorrow you're the CEO. So it really changes fast.
The other way around. More, it's the other way around. You was the CEO at the technology stage, and now you are the CTO at the business stage.
What is your vision for Millennium Food Tech?
So we would like, first of all, we did one IPO for one of our companies, so we would like to have much more either IPOs or M&As with our portfolio company, and to establish our name, which is, of course, already established in the Israeli food tech ecosystem, but we would like to establish our name as the best partner and investor to startup companies in the food tech area. So to build our name, this is our one priority, to do good to the environment and to food, and the food security is also a target for us, and building ourselves.
Okay, since this is the IAM podcast, if you want to put something on your name, I am Chanan, your blank investor. So how do you want to be known for as an investor?
Preferred investor.
Preferred investor, kind of ideal investor.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And yeah, I want that start founders and companies will say, I want Millennium Food Tech as investor. This is what I want. Maybe they will not invest in me, but I want them, because I know that they can help me in raise money, they can help me in execution. They are going with me hand to hand to have a great company and a big company.
To those who would like to connect with you, how can they connect with you?
So they can send an email. I have a LinkedIn, and I answer my LinkedIn, and if not in LinkedIn, they can send an email to Chanan, Chanan, at millennium-ft.com. And we have also a website that you can send an email, and we almost all the time return.
Thank you very much, Chanan, and all the best to Millennium Food Tech.
Thank you very much, Mai. It was great being here. Really, really great conversation. Thank you very much.
This podcast is powered by IAMOps.io. Optimize your cloud infrastructure and CI/CD process with IAMOps.io dedicated DevOps team. Check out www.iamops.io and get a DevOps team